This is why you don't compare yourself to other people. It's because when you compare the worst version of yourself to someone's best version, there's a big gap and it's going to make you feel like shit. So instead of comparing yourself to someone who you don't know the work they put in behind the scenes, you don't know what they've been through to create the individual who is putting that amount of work in behind the scenes. And you also don't know what made that individual, in that moment, relentlessly pursue what made them that individual, creating the best version of themselves. So when we look at ourselves and we compare to other people, we decimate that space of comparing ourselves to ourselves in the past. So instead of comparing yourself to an individual that you don't know what they've been through to create that individual, you don't know what they do to be that individual, so you're really just peering from the outside and all you're seeing is an appearance, a brief emanation of that individual, not knowing what created that individual. So when you compare yourself to individuals that appear better than you, you should instead look at who you are in that moment. Instead of comparing yourself to them, look at you and who you were in the past. And if there's not a major gap of who you are now and who you were in the past, then there's a problem, and the problem is you, and you're unaware to the fact that you are projecting insecurity onto individuals who are obviously better than you with that specific endeavor, or with their work ethic, or some quality within their being that you want to emanate, copy, and mimic, because you're doing that unawareingly. So you have to analyze yourself to the past versions of yourself, and then you have to ensure that you do everything in your power to be better than that individual every day. If you're not shitting on the versions of you that actively compromise, who is actively not growing, who is actively being less than they could be, you're comparing the worst version of you to someone's best version of them. So when you feel insecure, when you feel like shit, it's because you are shit compared to who you're comparing yourself to. And until you realize that you're shit compared to who you're comparing yourself to, you'll never actually make a move to not be shit, but not shit compared to the individual you're comparing yourself to, but not, you got to be better than the individual that you were yesterday. So if you're not outworking yourself, but you're comparing yourself to people that are obviously outworking you, well, then there's a major, there's a disturbance, a perturbance, a disruption in equilibrium in your mind that is going to permeate and infest the space of your brain and mind to manifest pieces of shit, bitch ass pussy energy into the external world. So before you emanate this piece of shit bitch energy into the external world because you saw someone better than you and then felt like shit for someone else being better than you, understand that all you had to do was, instead of being aware of that individual who is actively being better than you, just compare yourself to the past versions of yourself that you either were or not, but you're either still that past version of yourself with zero development, zero growth, zero influxes or tension in your mind that is pulling on your fucking nerves to be better in life. You guys are staying in the same position your entire life, and then you wonder why you feel like shit. You wonder why you're grumpy for no reason. You wonder why you wake up with this shit, I'm tired and don't want to do anything with my life energy. Well, it's because that's what the fuck you are. What you feel like is what you are. And until you do something, until you actually set in motion a certain habits that is going to allow you to, transmute that energy, to turn the negative into a positive by transmuting and to alchemize that energy, you're going to be a disruption in the fucking cosmic reunion, in the fucking quantum and space continuum that, we have individuals relentlessly pursuing development to be the best version of themselves. And then you have this piece of shit bitch that can't look in the mirror and take accountability for that bitch that hasn't been growing for shit. And now we have a waste of space that is out here projecting insecurity. Look in the mirror with that bitch face before you go out into the world and project that onto someone. Understand you only live once, and to sit there and compare the worst version of you to someone's best version is to actively compromise yourself to lack the awareness that you are actively being the worst version of yourself. And you have to understand that if you're not better than the individual you saw in the mirror 2 years ago, a year ago, 3 to 6 months ago, well, it's because you have a problem, and the problem is you. And until you realize you have a fucking problem, you're going to die a bitch that never amounted to anything for themselves. Everyone is very great at, doing things for other people, but they never actually took accountability and responsibility for themselves to, be healthy and optimized for the best version of themselves, to look in the mirror and admire that individual. And they're going to go their entire lives wasting time always doing some shit for someone else but themselves, being a conformity instead of a transformational individual. They are a conformity, transform. We are transformers. They are conformers. We are two different species in the same species. It's superior and inferior quality of being. So you are an inferior piece of shit, bitch, until you put yourself on the pedestal and do everything in your power to grow as an individual instead of compromise yourself for people who will forget you 3 weeks after you hit the fucking casket. So before you compare that worst version of you to someone's best version of you, understand that you need to shift your awareness to the version of you right now, compare you to the past, and do everything in the present moment to decimate and to individuate yourself out of that individual you've been being, to evolve and transform into something higher than what you are now, to evolve in quality and to be a better individual in the one life you only get once. Links in the description for the personal development community, one-on-one mindset coaching in the description. And take the steps, become the individual you admire. Don't compromise yourself for other people, and definitely don't compare the worst version of you to people's best versions of them, because you'll definitely be insecure, and you're definitely going to project that stifling energy into the external world. And then you're definitely going to be a perturbance and a disruption to the people who understand that they only live once. Every second they waste, they never will get back. And so they're going to do everything in their power to be the most successful in every endeavor that they can be, whether that's through the work ethic with the workout, whether that's through counting the macros and never missing the macro count, whether that's with the meditation, whether that's financially, whether that's any metric of existence. We are maxing out every day. If you are not a part of the community around like-minded individuals, you are missing out on a big piece of the pie that you could enjoy with us. So understand you only live once, and to not make that move to be the best you is to be the worst you, and to die a failing, floundering piece of shit